Yeah, hey. Okay, so we are live. Oh, we're live on YouTube. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Warriors of Light. Welcome. We're finally here. It took us a little bit of time to arrive to this moment. And this is in particular because of this big portal, as well as just technological interference, which, maybe because of the 1111 portal. But we're here, and we're here with Coco Makambionke, Coco Ayanda as well. Welcome, Coco. I am really excited to have you here today. We are going to be talking mastery of self, quantum leaping, and we're going to be doing this on this beautiful, powerful solar wave of the 1111 portal. So I'm really excited to have you here, and I'm just honored to have you here. Welcome, Coco.
Thank you for having me, Coco. I am equally excited to be here today, especially on the 1111 portal. As you do know and you are aware, I specifically chose today because of exactly the topic that I would be discussing, which is quantum leaping and the mastery of self. So thank you for extending an invite, and I am indeed happy to be here.
Yes. So let's actually start first with the grounding, and then we will talk a little bit about the 1111 portal, why you were particularly drawn to this date, and what this date is really about, this portal, and what it means, particularly in alignment with our topic of mastery of selves, quantum leaping, right? It's so aligned. But yes, let's start with the grounding, because we got a little rattled, me and Coco, because technology was fighting us. So we're going to ground a little bit. So I would like to invite you, wherever you are, to just take this time to breathe, breathe all that energy, that air, and just come back to your physical vessel, to your physical body. And just make the intention to drop deeply, even more, into your physical vessel. When we are in our body, we are in deeper command and in deeper relationship with our other subtle bodies. And so we invite the breath in and out as we bring all aspects of ourselves, all the fragmented aspects of ourselves, all the energies that is clustered all around because of whatever chaos was happening during the day. Just bring all of these aspects of the self back home to your center, to the permanent seed atom that is within your higher heart. Allow that to drop in as we align fully with the highest frequencies, the hydroplasmic aurora rainbow frequencies of the higher worlds, the solar waves that are right now in the fields that are anchoring in through this portal, the organic frequencies, as we invite in and connect to the pre-fields, beyond the pre-fields, to the primordial world, to the primordial essence of all that is, the pure essence, to the source God creator. And we are anchoring into the space, the luminous frequencies of the crystalline river host that are currently right now supporting us in this ascension journey. The fail-safe that is active in this particular portal. We're connecting with that, with all the guardians, the Christed guardians that are supporting and overlooking this particular quantum leap that we're going through right now. We are inviting our own higher self, the divine intelligence, the avatar Christed self of our being, to anchor into the space, to look through our eyes, to hear through the ears that we have, so that we're able to comprehend the transmission of today, to absorb and integrate this wisdom that will be coming in today. And we are anchoring into the space, the 12-dimensional Kathara grid, the tree of life. We understand that we are part of a tree. We are roots. We are the leaves of this big tree of the human race. And we're anchoring in the highest expression of that tree of life, which is the Kathara grid, into the space. We are inviting this to move through our blood, our cells, our DNA, to anchor deeply and to anchor to the morphogenetic fields, to the wisdom of our ancestral helping spirits, the wisdom of our divine grandmothers, the divine grandfathers that are here right now, overlooking our journeys, overlooking this transmission, overlooking the wisdom that is going to be shared here, and overlooking this ascension leap that we are in right now. And so we're taking a deep breath, and we're only inviting into the space these frequencies that are here to restore, to resurrect, to repair, to refresh, to heal, the miraculous healing of our mind, our body, and our spirit. And we are inviting and resurrecting the seal of Source God, the seal of the divine authority of the divine masculine, the Christ, the Christos, and the seal of the divine feminine, the divine wisdom of the divine feminine, the seal of Nala, of Mam Wenti, of Sophia, of Gaia, of Amenti, earth, of Uther, earth. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
And so it is. How do you feel?
I feel so much better. How do you feel?
Excited. I feel excited, Kok. I feel calm. I feel peace surpassing all understanding. That's how I feel.
Amazing. Beautiful. So
beautiful.
Yes. So Koko, the 1111 portal, what is, first of all, a portal, and what is the 1111 portal, and why were you particularly drawn to wanting to come through to this library of consciousness that we are building on this particular portal wave?
Okay. So a portal, we could look at it as an analogy of such as a stargate or a gateway or a threshold. You know, let's not make it greater than, something as simple as a doorway. You know, that's what portals are. So they are an opportunity for us to enter a different realm of existence, a different realm of perspective or perceiving things, as well as seeing things, which is what it means as well. So it's an opportunity to see things differently. That's what the portals bring. And the energies that they support as well all work towards bringing that, you know, clarity and sight, which is what today's portal is about. It is the 1111 portal, a twin flames portal. It's the number of illumination, basically. So that's why that is the main reason why I chose it. Like, the 11th of November 1111 illumination. Yes, that's the one, you know. And so outside of that, myself being a person who went through her own ascension journey via the twin flame ascension, you know, that's why. So I was like, definitely I'm choosing this is the date for me, because it's all about what I am, and everything that I speak about and the way that I move is in alignment with this portal. So that's the reason why I chose today. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, illumination. And yeah, today we're going to have that illumination. And the 1111, with regards to the tradition of numbers of numerology, is a master number, right? And you know, we're here talking about mastery itself. There's so many reasons why this topic is so aligned with this particular day. It's also, as you're saying, it's a doorway where there's a lot of solar waves, a lot of light energy, light codes that are coming from the great central sun, the sun of our cosmos. And these light codes, as they're hitting us, those who consider themselves genetic path cutters, star seeds, light workers, and so on, they are awakening our dormant DNA. They are awakening also any aspects of ourselves that we need to be working on are awakening, particularly right now, for us to clear them. We have an opportunity to quantum leap, to go to the next level of our consciousness growth, our development, of our evolution, of our expression, you know. And so I was talking to my students earlier today that you may have been feeling all sorts of weird symptoms, you know, some heaviness, just deep exhaustion. It is because when we are going through the process of illumination, that process is quite heavy and dense difficult for our dense bodies, as we're still at a certain level of consciousness. And so wherever you are in your consciousness, then the density will be at that level as well. So the difficulty of navigating this doorway, this portal, this stargate, as you say, will be, right? Yes. So these doorways, they're always great opportunity to step deeper and deeper into the mastery of self, which is our conversation today. So I want us to start there on just the journey of mastery of self. And maybe you can start with your journey. You mentioned that your journey of ascension started with the twin flame initiation. What is the twin flame initiation, and or the twin flame experience, as you call it?
Okay, it didn't start with the twin flame initiation. It became a part of it when it was time for me to ascend, rather, onto the next level. Because from the moment you are conceived, you are on a journey of ascension. So it's different stages that one will go through in life, and some people call it initiations, and some people just call it as simple as just another chapter of my life that I've gone through, so that we eliminate making it seem so bland and so hard, and look at it for what it is, which is simply just that, about you. It's a journey about your own soul. So there we go, the lights are back. So definitely, hey, with regards to that, my journey, I believe, started on my way to Earth, you know, before I was conceived. This particular incarnation, I was conceived. I was already on my journey of ascension for this particular lifetime. And reason why is that as a person who specializes in ancestral wounds, and breaking of generational curses, those being karmic patterns that happen in within the family, within your life. It's a repeated, like how they say karma is a bitch type of energy. So karmic patterns are that situations, for good or for bad, that continue to repeat basically over and over in particular lifetimes. So ancestral wounds are literally that, karmic patterns that are repeating, that give for an opportunity to change, whether you continue to do as it's been done or a different route is taken. And so the reason why I say that my particular journey began from the moment I was conceived, because the circumstances that I was conceived under played a role and determined what type of person I would become, and those circumstances were solely based on the karmic patterns that were in my family. And that is why when I also teach my own people, when my students per se, my people, my mentees, I refer to them as my people. So when I teach my people about ancestral wounds and karmic patterns, because we specialize in healing ancestral wounds and breaking generational curses. So even the way in which you were conceived plays a role. Because, for instance, I was one who was born outside of wedlock, because that's a karmic pattern that is present in my Akashic record and my family's background. And another individual probably might be conceived under, let's say, for example, an unfortunate event, and maybe the mom was, what's that word? Just slipped my mind. Assaulted. The
Oh. I hope she's coming back.
I am back, Coco. My apologies. I've actually got my phone on Do Not Disturb, but a phone call managed to push through. So,
okay.
Yeah, my apologies, everybody. So, as I was saying, I was speaking about the conditions that you're born under. So that basically speaks to what we would label a karmic pattern or an ancestral wound. So, and that is why I solely believe that my journey didn't specifically start when I was at this particular phase, the twin flame journey. No, it began way before that. It began from the moment that I was going to incarnate in this lifetime. So that's from where my whole journey of ascension began. And also the journey of ascension is a journey of your own soul, meaning that whatever experiences in the lifetime that you are in, your soul will experience, and whatever lessons as a human being you will go through, and so that's where my journey began, from that time. And so obviously I went through my different stages of my life, the different chapters. Obviously, one will call them initiations, And so as part of those different stages was me, because of the type of family that I've been raised in and born into, with the particular parents that I have and the lineage and bloodline that I have. It all contributed to the experiences that I would have as an individual as I was growing up, the people that I'd be exposed to that would support these energies that were existing in my bloodline. And when we speak of it in spiritual terms, in esoteric terms, we label that as the Akashic record, But I find that using these terminologies tends to confuse a person. So I like to just keep it simple and explain it as very bland as I can possibly, so that it is easier for any other person who, when they hear me speak, can relate to what I'm saying, and so they can understand and then be able to apply themselves to that. And so that's why I find that the way that I teach, it's all about enlightenment. And so it's hard to enlighten somebody when you come through with terminologies that they don't understand. And so I just solely believe simplicity is key, and that's how I move. So with regards to that, so it's my family background that is my experiences and everything. And so when I got to a particular stage in my life, that's when the next chapter began with the twin flame journey. And so basically the twin flame journey supports what an ancestral, a person who has a calling, one who is called to be the one that will bear the gift of healing for the family and for the greater world and collective when they are advanced enough to do that. And so when you understand what karmic patterns are and ancestral wounds are, you get to see that there are different stages as well, that we've got, like, what, how do I say this? It's not a hierarchy, but it's different roles that are within the family. Like you've gone through from being an infant, with toddler, and then it's a young child, and then it's a teenager, and then it's an adult, and then it's a young adult, and then it's an adult, and throughout all these experiences you will go through different phases. Like each phase has its own experiences. So when you reach a stage of adulthood, obviously part of the reasons is that one would start dating, one would then get married one day, if that's the route that is chosen for them, to the destined and fated path that they would be on. And so the twin flame journey basically is just about that. It's about you having a partner that supports the dating side of things. It also supports the marriage side of things, but then it goes much far deeper than that. But basically, twin flames, one of the reasons why they are brought about is so that they could mirror to each other and also help each other heal wounds that exist within the dating sector, within the marriage sector. Because as a wounds healer, how are you going to heal wounds between married people if you don't find yourself in a situation where you're married, And more specifically, with regards to the African spirituality and the way of life, we believe that we have partners that are chosen for us by our guides, and that supports the twin flame journey. So that part is just an added part that came through, that helped for me to be able to continue to ascend, because I had gotten to a point whereby I had acquired enough of the karmic patterns that exist in my family so that I could then start healing them. And so for people that don't have twins, we say that we mirror each other. So we can even also say that the next person can be a mirror of your soul, which is your twin flame type of thing. And so we are all each other's twins, but when it comes to the dynamics of relationships, it's a bit different. and it goes much deeper than that. So I do have that. I've touched based on the teachings that I give, because I host master classes on that on the side. So that's just a general summary of the different stages and the different journeys that I've gone through. So yeah, that's what it's about. That's my a bit of my background, I should say, and how I found myself going down this particular route of healing was because I got an understanding that I'm here to heal the wounds of our lineage and stuff like that. And so when you have that cognitive understanding and you understand what an ancestral wound is and you understand what a karmic pattern is, then you get to understand why certain things happen in your life, and that life no longer just happens for you, but it happens it's no longer happening to me, but it's happening for me, so that whatever events that are happening are part and parcel to help me to ascend, you know. And so that brings us to today's topic, the twin flame 1111 portal, which is a portal of illumination. You mentioned and you touched base that is the master number, yes, but over and above that, it's the justice, it's the balancing of the scales, you know, the yin and the yang, you know, the maternal and paternal, divine feminine, masculine. In African spirituality, we call it umdigi and we call it umdawo. So it's all about that. It's all about balance, and hence why it's the 1111. So that the 4 legs, if you look at the sign 1111, it's the 4 legs. And what are those 4 legs? It means that you are grounded in both in the air energy, which is your mental. It's the earth energy, which is your physical space, the 3D, and then you're grounded in the fire, which is the spark of life, and it touches base with the ethers, and then it's the water, which is the emotion. So the 1111 portal supports you being a fully grounded person, one who is balanced, one who comes into union with all parts of themselves. So that's where the illumination is about, you realizing who you are, what are you here to do, and what are you going to give us. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I love it. Yeah, I love that breakdown of this 1111 portal, and just the journey of ascension. How, I mean, overall, planet Earth, our planet is on an ascension journey. So everyone is on an ascension journey, right? And we've been on ascension journey. Yeah, from the moment we enter this planet, you are entering the ascension process, right? And then the way that, because when we enter this planet, we enter into the bloodlines that which you spoke about, and a lot of our experiences in our planet is based on inheriting the belief systems of the bloodline that you have entered into, inheriting the standard or the frequency, or just how life is like for that bloodline, right? And the programming of your bloodline as well. You know, as Black people, there's a certain level of programming that we inherit by entering into what we call the morphogenetic Black field, right? The Black race field, right? And so we spent a lot of years, the first couple of years, basically.
Can I ask you, please, if you may, because I've invited people to come and join, and most of them don't have an understanding of the esoteric. If you do mention a term, you know, can you please say it in a way that is easy for any person to understand that is outside of spirituality? Because for me personally, I believe that for a person to be able to see things differently, they need to be able to relate to you. So as soon as, from my personal experience, as soon as you start speaking a particular way, you've lost them. And so they'll be stuck on that word, and then they get to miss everything else that you say. So I will humbly ask you, Coco, if you do, try to break it down before you
I was
continue.
just about to do that. Yes, I understand. I am a teacher as well. I have a different perspective from you with regards to that. And I have that perspective in alignment with the topic we're going to have about quantum leaping, right? I am 100% in agreement on the importance of us breaking down and simplifying things. But also I understand how sometimes certain words, even if you don't know them, are an activation that begins to awaken something within you. Even if later this will take you a year or 2 years to later understand what that person was talking about, hearing that word can be your quantum leap, you know. So I 100% agree with what you're saying. And then at the same time, I have seen myself in a journey where I listened to people and I didn't know what they meant, but something was awakened in my DNA, and later I understood what they meant. And sometimes I never really do, but I get the context and I get the energy and the vibration and the frequency. So you have a different perspective of perceiving it, sometimes, which is like, I want everyone to understand the same is true for me, hence the library of consciousness. But I also sometimes want to speak to the higher aspect of you, even if you are not yet aware of that higher aspect, which is the awakening, which is what I was just about to say, that we are all on an ascension journey. And then at certain point, because we go through experiences where it's about the experiences we find our families in, the belief system of our family, especially for the first 21st years of our life, the first 2 decades of our lives, we are all about integrating and understanding and learning to navigate our lives and our realities that we are part of, that we're existing in, right? And then there are certain events that happen that begin to trigger a deeper awareness, that begin to illuminate, that begin to make you wonder if there's more to life. If this is just it, am I supposed to struggle for the rest of my life the way that I've seen my ancestors and my people essentially going through, right? And then in that moment, then there is that awakening, and you begin that, the ascension process actively and consciously now, right? While before, for some people, you were not conscious the whole your childhood years, you're not aware that you're actually here as a soul, as a spirit, here to heal karmic patterns and so on and so forth, right? And then you arrive to a certain point, and then, like you're saying, it's either going to be through a relationship that hurts you so much, or you go through a particular traumatic experience that get you to the point where you're like, I need to do something about these patterns, I need to heal these patterns and so forth, right? Yes, so the process of like mastery of self, how does that process unfold from your perspective?
With regards to that, the mastery of self is a journey of discovering who you are, a journey of understanding what you are made of, and how and why are you this particular person. Why do I think like this? Why do I feel this way? Why do I act in this manner? And why do I perceive things in this manner? So when one goes on a journey of self-discovery, self-mastery, it's to answer all these questions. What happened that led to me thinking, feeling, believing, and seeing this way, you know? And as you venture on a journey of self-mastery, You use the tools that you have been equipped with, already given by the universe, by a bloodline, supported by creation and divinity, and so we look at the karmic patterning that we speak of. We look at your ancestral um, heritage, how they did things, the customs they follow, the traditions that they also appease, and the beliefs that they have, and all of that aids in how you learn yourself as a person, because it's just a matter looking at your life. You don't even have to go very far. You don't even have to look out there. Just look at yourself and you would have understood every single thing that has happened to you as a person and an individual. Every single life circumstance that you have gone through is because it's an existence energy that is existing within your Akashic record, meaning that it's an energy that exists within your bloodline. So you can literally learn all these things, discover all these things, and go back to the person that you were, go back to your magnificence that you were when you arrived here on earth under the circumstances that you did. It did not negate the fact that you had the breath of life, God's essence inside of you, and you were perfectly perfect, and so when the world gets to you and you go through these experiences and they tell you no, and they tell you to look this way, stand this way, do this way, and those are all conditions, conditionings that we say is the matrix, we say is what we have been influenced by the world. But if you look at it at a deeper level and at a simple level, it's all just what's happening in your family. And so when you discover that, when you go back and you perceive all these things and you transition all these things and you shift all these things and you just go back to the essence of who you are, the person that you were before the world got to you, you would have mastered yourself because you now understand why you move the way that you do as a person. So basically that's what it is. Mastery of self is learning who you are, and as you learn who you are, you get into alignment with your lineage. You clear out your Akashic record, you get into alignment with the ecosystem, and you align with source. So you arrive back home to the original you, the you that God said you must come and be here on earth. If you believe in source creation, or whatever God that one would believe in, or one whatever customs that one would follow, all of that, it's just taking you back to your authentic self.
Yeah. So what would you, just from your perspective in your own experience as well as a guide, what are some of the ancestral wounds as well as the karmic wounds or patternings that you either have went through, had to heal, just so that people can get a map of like exactly what they're looking for in terms of like stepping into mastery of selves, right? So some of the ancestral wounds that we collectively either have to work on, heal, or also karmic or soul wounds that we have as well.
So if I'm hearing you right, Coco, you want me to give examples of my own wounds that I've gone through. Is that what you say?
Your own as well as like from a general collective perspective.
Okay. So as a person, it's wounds that I went through whereby I had to There's so many. There's so many. Which one do I choose? I'll choose one where healer. We are all healers. We are all on a journey of becoming healed and being healer. And so on my own personal journey, what I discovered was, and this leads to the conditioning that takes place, is that as soon as an individual awakens to the fact that they have a calling, be it they go seek out a healer, or they start dreaming, or whatever events that help them to arrive at this realization that they have a calling and they need to heal. And my experience is that I was exposed to a lot of people that do things a certain way, like for me, early on in my journey, before I arrived at this way of healing, which is the healing of ancestral wounds, I was exposed to healers that did things a different way that wasn't for me, but was for them. The different rituals that they performed. The way in which they practice their spirituality, and the way in which they did things on a general as a healer would. So I got exposed to healers that do that, and it brought about a lot of confusion for me per se, because yes, I would they would say that, for example, I was going to dream of a gobela being a person that helps you with your initiation, that you go to initiation school. We call it ipehlo in South Africa. I'm not sure if it's called that in your country as well. But we go to ipehlo, and then you're going to have a gobela, and you're going to dream your gobela, and you're going to do certain things when you are there, and for me as a person, how I knew myself and the way that in which I was brought up was that if you can see it, then you can do it. And so I found it very hard, where I had to try to imagine myself in a situation of what they would have described what ipehlo is, for example. And so no matter how hard I tried to envision this, the vision wouldn't come. And so innately, I had a knowing that that was not for me. And so my whole spirit rejected that. My whole being rejected that. And because of that, a lot of backlash I I stumbled upon. A lot of healers got frustrated with me because I would ask questions as well. I'm a very I want to know why. It needs to make logical sense to me, so that I understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, so that it makes sense. And then I won't have this thing, you could see, what if, I'll fully engross myself in it because I have an understanding, and I found that a lot of people couldn't answer these questions, more especially the healers that were of a generation or two older than I, um, and a lot of them, I soon later learned, was that the answers in which they gave me were answers that they themselves too were given, and therefore there was no way they could have answered me because they did not know. Because when they were told that oh, idlozi aliphenduli alibuzi imibuzo, meaning that you can't question spirit, then a doorway was erected that separated oneself from their lineage. It created a barrier for the person. So those are just examples of the things that I went through on my journey as I was finding myself, discovering myself, learning my gift. And trying to heal myself, basically, you know, you can't ask questions, and that wasn't true, you know, because it just it spoke opposites of my own upbringing, you know. It spoke opposites of what was instilled in me by my own family, by my own parents, by my own teachers in school as well. They encouraged that, and yet here in spirituality it was discouraged, and so it did not make sense. It did not make sense why certain questions couldn't be answered, and it brought about a lot of conflict, that ended up being internal conflict. So it's as if I experienced wounds from trying to heal. You know, the very space that was supposed to be helping me and aiding me to heal now became the very thing that was wounding me, I should say, you know. And so those are the what we would say. That's just an example of an experience of a wound that I've gone through, solely based on the fact that it's from my own background, the person that I am, and where I was trying to get to.
Yeah. Okay. I think let me just leave the questions for later, right? But you feel free to please write the questions, the Q&A, and we'll come back to them later. What I wanted to expand on, sorry?
I'll continue.
Yeah. I was saying, Ipetreni, as you say, or no, I don't, not Ipetreni, okay, the initiation place, right, where people go, it is essentially a space for the mastery of self, right, for evolution, for ascension, but particularly for healing, right, for healing the wounds that we're carrying that come from our bloodline, that comes from people who have lived before us, right? So your experience, you said that it wasn't your experience. You didn't go and receive that healing. So my initial question was actually, what are the things we are to heal when we want to step into mastery of self? So an example being, for example, as Black people, because of the experiences that we've had, and I think it speaks a lot to why there's this problem with authority in African spirituality, where we believe that, oh, the ancestors said this, so we have to follow through. It comes because of the history, some of the history of our people, where we've had slavery, we've had war, which came in and introduced this idea that, you know, we are inferior, right? Like humanity is inferior to the gods, to the higher beings, and also just inferiority compared to other people, right? That other people are more worthy than you and so forth, right? So I see that as a wound, like an inferiority wound, for example, which a lot of the time that inferiority wound comes with feeling more comfortable believing in an authority, believing in rules and following rules, and not wanting to change the rules and the processes and the rituals and the ways of life, right? Because there's the question of who am I to question, the question where, I can't question something that is an ancient practice or an ancient rites, and in alignment even with the question that Matlogonolo was asking here, where she was asking you how you developed your confidence so early in your journey, so that you are able to follow your own knowing, you know, to challenge the healers as you're challenging them and so forth, right? You had to heal something to get to that point, right? Or for you to keep leaping into the deeper levels of your confidence, there are certain things that you had to heal. So like, what are these certain things, just on a general, not necessarily specific to you, that you find within your clients that we encounter on our journey of mastery?
Okay, so This all ties into today's topic, illumination, and quantum leaping as such. Um, you spoke about the slave consciousness, whereby inferiority complex, stuff like that. I could say that um I had confidence, then it was broken, and then I re-healed it again, because I can draw reference to an experience where I had, as a person who was brought up the way that I was by my family, want to believe in myself, want to carry myself a certain way, want to have confidence in myself, and. So I was always encouraged. I was always given that which I needed, that would help me to be bold in the world. And so my confidence that I have been brought up, when I got to high school, um, I had an experience whereby, because of the way that I carried myself, people didn't understand who I was and what I was. And a lot of people mistook my confidence for arrogance, I would say, because I would say arrogance because that's exactly what they called me. And there was a particular instance where I was in class this one day, and I don't know how it happened, but we ended up people just ended up confessing. It was like a confession. It was a truth and reconciliation type of thing, energy that was taking place. And this one particular girl said to me that um, the problem with you, when I under, is because you think you're superior to everyone. And I looked at her, and I was like, but that's not true. And here I had somebody labeling me because of what I had, and no way on. I did not see myself as that. And so my only natural response to that, was to say that it's not my fault you think you inferior, you know um because my reasoning at that time and my logic at that time was that um why can't you, if you feel that I'm being a certain way, why can't you be that for yourself? you know which is what you could always say, that I had an innate knowing of self. And as I grew older and heard things like, you think you're superior, you think you better than, you think you know it all. And that started knocking me. So it's like I had it and then I lost it and then I had to reacquire it again. And so that me losing that essence of me was literally grooming me also to get me to a point whereby I could start healing myself and mastering myself and regaining that confidence in me. So it was further wounded in me when I came to question these things, and when I had people say to me that because I'm more experienced in this journey of healing and being a sangoma or umakosi, like umakosi being person who has royal ancestry, it's like you will bow down to me. And so it's like a forced submission. And like my very core essence was like, no, that is an injustice, that is wrong. And I've always seen myself as the voice for the voiceless. And because of that, it has gotten me into a lot of trouble in the past, um because it's like what in South Africa, we've got this colloquial term we use. It's like Chuck Norris, type of thing. It's like I had that energy, the daredevil energy in me. And because I was fearless, I was brought up fearless. And so I did not fear anything. But because of people that I started being around and the way that they were, I found myself having to withdraw back into me. And that's when I started losing my essence. And that's why I say that some of the wounds also attributed, like perhaps maybe I won't say that I didn't have them before, but they got more instilled or more cemented in me when I started on this journey of actually accepting my calling and healing self so that I could heal the bloodline, because obviously I got to experience certain energies at the time that I did because I needed those energies to help me when I actually start healing. I could draw reference to why this happened. Self-introspection is what we do when we heal, so that we understand the psyche, we understand the emotional body, we also understand the surroundings that you might place yourself in because of all those things. So everything, whether it was a bad experience or it was a good experience, everything happened the way that it had to. There were no mistakes. There's never been any mistakes, and that's actually one of the reasons why I move the way I do. And I shed light to people the way that I do, so that people can just understand that you've always had it. For Coco, for the fact that you were able to identify that, oh my gosh, she's got such confidence. It means that you too have that in you, and it's just a matter of freeing yourself so that you can be that which you are already, that which you've identified in me, you can be, and that's where I move from. That's the point of how I carry myself and how I treat those around me, and I interact with people around me. It's not even that. And I solely believe that my thing is that if I can do it, definitely you can do it. Like, I'm some random girl who grew up in a small little town in KZN, South Africa, and I'm doing this thing and I'm shedding so much light and I've healed so much and I've learned so much about myself. So if little old me, can do it, so can anybody. If I can discover my own magnificence and see exactly the God in me, because the way that I am and the way that I move is because I know exactly who I am, because I've done the work that has gotten me to carry myself like this and to treat people the way that I do. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you are. You all receive the same treatment from me, and it's simply because I know who I am and the family that I have come from, for good or for bad, whatever it is. All of that supported me in becoming the person that I am. So yeah, that's if you see that I am confident, definitely I am, because I believe so. I've worked hard for it. But furthermore, you too are also just as equally confident. And so it's just a matter of waking up to that and seeing just how grand you are.
Yes, definitely. I would like to take this chance to invite you here on Zoom, as well as those who are joining us on YouTube. If you have any questions that you specifically want to ask Gogo, please feel free to do that now, because I'm going to jump into the questions in a moment. Yeah, okay. So Gogo, someone right now is, in a place where they're feeling like they're stuck, that life is not moving in the way that they would like it to move. Whether that's within their career, that's within their relationship, that's within their calling, as a healer, as a genetic path cutter, and so forth, as a light worker, right? But they are stuck, and it just feels like they have tried all the things. Well, yes, they've tried all the things, but they just feel like they want to leap, to go to the next stage of their life, whether that's the new job or the new relationship, or finally accepting their calling or jumping into their work as a healer, right? So essentially, quantum leaping. How does someone quantum leap?
quantum leaping, Coco. Let's just get the definition. Let me see if my laptop is still on. I want to read out the definition that is given online by quantum leaping. And I want to share. Okay, it says here, a quantum jump. It says here, a quantum jump is an abrupt transition of a quantum system from one quantum state to another, from one energy level to another. When the system absorbs energy, there is a transition to a higher energy level. And when the system loses energy, there is a transition to a lower energy level. So basically, all of us at a quantum level, when we strip back everything and we separate you into a cellular structure and we just look at you on a cellular structure, you are energy, you are vibrating, right? And so that means that that's why we are able to absorb the downloads, the light codes that permeate the atmosphere and get downloaded to us. That's how we absorb them. It's because we are literally that same particle as such. So when one quantum leap, it's a move forward. So it's not a regression, but it's a step forward, meaning that it's from one state of being to another. When you heal, you change the way that you think, that you do, that you feel, that you act, that you react. As soon as you do that switch, that's called a quantum leap. It's nothing grand. It's nothing out or out of your capabilities as such. It's as easy as switching the way that you think. Coco, you spoke of the poverty consciousness, where I am a slave mentality, man. Where and when you look at it, that is basically spiritual capturing. You know, when one gets conditioned, when one is forced to think a certain way, when one is forced to do things a particular way, you know, when one is forced to conform in a way that constricts them and restricts them instead of allowing them to be free. It boxes, you know, that's spiritual capturing. That's slave mentality. That's the reason why one gets called, so that when you free the bloodline, when you free yourself, you free the bloodline. So a quantum leap is basically is made possible. Ne? It's made possible by you being given an opportunity that presents itself. So how this opportunity is supported is by the what we would say karmic patterns, your ancestral wounds. So let's say, for instance, there is an experience that you've gone through, like my example that I used, that I experienced in my high school grade class, where I was presented with somebody that said, I think that I'm superior to everyone. The way that you move and you act, you think you're superior. Who are you? You know, she was questioning me. And that was, I can say that that was the universe at that time giving me an opportunity to either expand on my greatness that I already knew, or to regress and become constricted, you know. And so I made a choice. I analyzed what she was saying, I listened, and then I questioned, is what she's saying true? And no, it's false. It's not my truth. And so she can't be labeling me that. That's wrong. So then what is another reason that one would say that why do you feel that I'm making you feel inferior when I'm not? So that's the way that you are thinking. And we can say that at that time, my response to her, when I said, it's not my fault you think that you're inferior, that was an opportunity for her to actually realize that, oh my gosh, what this one is saying is true. And so I'm not inferior. And so it's, why am I carrying myself and treating myself like I am inferior? And so had she made the conscious decision to say, I'm switching over from this mentality and I'm now thinking a certain way, that is a quantum leap. It's just a change in perspective. It's a way that you change in doing things, because remember, your thoughts influence the way that you feel, you know. And so if you can change the way you think about things, then you change the way that you feel about things, and seemingly, and all of a sudden you start doing things differently, you start moving differently, and we can say that you've done a quantum leap at that time. So it's just a matter of you choosing, do I want to regress or do I want to progress? And the quantum leap is, we can look at it as if this is point A and this is point B, and the area in between my hands, that's when you are jumping, like literally when you take a leap into the next paradigm. We call that a paradigm shift, you know. It's a consciousness, it's an allowance of expansion that takes place for an individual, so that they stop doing things the way that they were taught to do, you know, um, instilled through pain and suffering, you know. You know, yeah, that's what it is, you know. And so um, when one gets to a point of starting to ascend, it's because of everything that has happened for them, the weight of the world, heavy, you know, and things that happen to you. And a lot of times, a lot of people, individuals, I was just sharing yesterday on my blog during a live feed that it takes an event, a life-changing event to take place for you to shift. And we call that a tower moment. It takes a collapse of a structure, a breaking down of a reality, a crack in your mirror, you know, for you to shift, for you to move and be moved, you know. And so when we look at these events that take place, yeah, half of the time we put ourselves in situations and circumstances that lead to our own tower moments, because for every action there's an equal and there's an equal and opposite reaction. There are consequences to your actions, you know. And so if you do something and you know that perhaps you had a choice, say for instance you are going to go and rob somebody, gonna steal, you know, you have a choice before you do that. Do I take that thing or do I not take that thing? And if you choose to take that thing, down the line you've done an action. One would say you have created a wound in another person, because you created a loss for somebody else. So that's not a good thing, you know. And how you did it, you didn't go about it. You didn't earn that thing. You went and you took it without permission. So you have enacted a wound in your family, a wound of theft, you know, and you created a wound in somebody else. They suffered a wound of loss, you know. And so what would happen is, next thing is karma is going to come around. That's the balancing, you know, of the scale, and is going to, i.e., one, you end up in jail if you're an adult. If you're a kid, you probably get a lashing from your parents, or you get punished, you know. But people don't understand that when those events happen, the adverse events, one where the consequence of their action is coming into play, you know, they believe that it is a judgment that is cast upon them. They believe that they're suffering because of an injustice to them. But the truth of the matter is, you did that. So who do you blame for when something happens in your life? You know, you have to take accountability, so that next time you know better and you don't do better. And so we can say that had you not stolen that thing, you wouldn't have known in the future not to do that thing, because you wouldn't have an experience of what it's like to suffer a consequence of theft. And so can you see how an experience can never be bad, because you learn a lesson, you gain wisdom from, that's what we say, you gain wisdom. So quantum leaping is literally you jumping, hopping from one paradigm to the other, progressing, becoming better than, doing better, growing, strength, ascending, and it's just a betterment of an individual, them becoming for themselves. Before it can be better for anybody else, you become better for yourself. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
In a
Yeah. Yeah.
nutshell.
Yes, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's something we're always doing, If you look at your life, if you look back from where you started to where you are, you can just see how, this has been a lot of quantum leaps. There was a point where you didn't have the job that you have, now you do. There was a point where you didn't have the car, now you do. So you have leaped to that point, And another perspective like that, as you're talking, just dropped even more deeply, is how those who are called for the work of healing, whether that's light work, shadow work, or both of them, those who I call the genetic path cutters, who are here to heal themselves, heal their bloodlines, it's like we have an inbuilt system to constantly quantum leap. And that's why it's almost as if like your life is constantly changing, because if you are here to change the paradigm of your bloodline, you have to constantly change. You have to change your mindset. You have to have different ideas from the ones that you grew up in. So that's why your life seems to be so rapid and so different from other people. It's because you have an inbuilt ability to quantum leap. And that can also just come as an actual spiritual gift that you have, where for you, it's easy to move from one place to another, right? And then for other people, they depending also on the bloodline that you are incarnated into and the karma that you are here to clear and so on, you have to, like, the quantum leaping may take a while. This is why you shouldn't try to, like, a lot of the time, I think like people got really excited when they saw the word quantum leaping, because they're like, I want to quantum leap so that I am making like 100,000 rands next month, or, I was asking my physical trainer this morning, because I was telling him about the 1111 portal. And then I was like, what are the 3 things he wants? He's like, I want to make 26 billion Pula. And I'm like, but that leap is too big right now for you. Not that it's impossible, but if you are not even making 1 billion, like your nervous system will get so overwhelmed by the idea of leaping into a 26 billion Pula, right? So let's calm down and just really sit and ask, what do I want today? And where am I ready and committed to actually take the steps necessary to leap to that reality, right? Because quantum leaping is not magic. It's not, okay, Coco is going to give us a ritual and then we're going to quantum leap after I bath with her ritual and I do then tomorrow the car is going to drop in front of my house. Because Coco, these are the things that people don't struggle with, particularly because of the popularity of like the law of attraction, manifestation, and so on, right? Quantum leaping is a natural phenomenon. We're constantly doing it. But if you, the process of moving from you today to your highest desire, whatever that desire is, like your highest dream, right? Right now we're in this portal where we can plant the dreams and plant the next decisions we want to take, right? So is there a way to, like from your perspective, to quantum leap in ways that does not overwhelm your nervous system, does not overwhelm your inner child, does not like such that when you really think about it, you are willing to take the step-by-step process to eventually arrive to that paradigm you want to be in from your perspective.
Yeah, it's simple. Let go of fear. Let go of fear, because when you fear something, that's when you pause yourself, and it's like, do you want it or don't you want it? And if you want it, it is seen by the way in which you act towards it. So I can say to you, with the friend that you had, my perspective would be, oh, you want 26 million, billion. Okay, good. Just be prepared that the universe is going to present to you a series of events that are going to move you into alignment with that which you want. So whatever dreams that you have for yourself, those are valid. You don't just wake up and be like, oh my gosh, I want this for myself. It comes from somewhere. It comes from the ever unfolding particle of God that you are, that's inside, that's instilled in you by the divine. And so, yes, profess it to the world. And then on your side, meet the world, meet the universe, meet God, your guides, Amatongo, your ancestral, the deities that you believe in. Meet them halfway and saying, here I am present. Please move me. And in accordance, in alignment to that which I need to become. And then be prepared to move, because things are going to start happening that facilitates towards reaching that, and so fear is something that is instilled because people are scared, né? And people are afraid. And when you've gone on a journey of self-mastery and you've learned yourself and you've seen the deepest parts of you that are dark, and you just know yourself in your naked glory, when you've faced all these things that that make you be this person, when you are in your shadow self, the shadow being your part of you that is your ego, the conditioned you, the you that you at times you keep hidden from people, we call that your demon side, the shadow side of you. Then when you have come into union with that part of yourself, then you lose your fear, and then you just continue to be able to be moved and be shifted and be realigned, because that's what alignment is shifting you into doing this, do that, shift this way. And when you come into union with yourself that way, and you lose that fear, because you understand that there isn't anything out there that is bad, that can harm me, that can do anything to me. However, everything that is out there will aid in the betterment of me, and when you have that particular relationship with your guides and with God and the universe, and you're just in alignment, you even understand that the actual darkness that they speak of is the very thing that brings you light. So, can we really say that darkness is bad, when in the end it's something that will help you to see? Because without darkness, there can be no light. We can't see the light. And without the light, there can't be darkness, And for the light to be seen, to be illuminated, even it has to be dark, Because imagine lighting a candle, for example, in this lit room like this. You can't literally see the light of the candle. Yeah, you can see the flame, but the light that it casts, you can't see. But if I all of a sudden switch my bedroom light off, I can then see the light. So darkness is needed for the light to be there, And so don't fear the darkness, because that's where you will be led to for you to quantum leap. That's where you will be brought to for you to shift and move paradigms and get to that which you need to be, because you were not born or created or sent to earth to come and suffer, to come and just live in a life of turmoil and pain. That pain is for you to quantum leap. That pain is for you to ascend yourself and move yourself so that you can start experiencing your human experience, because you're here to live your own story. You're not here to relive history. That's why they call us karmic pattern breakers, ancestral wound healers, and generational curse breakers, because it's to undo that which is done. Karmic patterns, how you heal an ancestral wound, is to look at how this was being played out in my lineage, and if they were doing this, and this continued pattern, it happened in my mother, it happened in my auntie, it happened in my granny, it happened in my sister, now it's happening to me, it's happening to my cousin. So surely we're all doing the same thing. So there must be something wrong. That's why we have a generational curse now, because we all are doing the same thing. So your job, the onus is on you to do it differently. And that's how you shift and heal. It's just a change in perspective. It's seeing things, okay, this is wrong. Well, it's not even wrong. This shouldn't be done this way. Let's try a different way so that we can yield a different result, And it's as easy as that. That's what healing is about, and as you heal yourself, obviously you quantum leap. That means that the density that you spoke about, all of a sudden that baggage gets removed and you start clearing the Akashic record. And the more you do that, the more you download more light codes, is the more you activate spiritual gifts, your abilities, things like your third eye, the antenna of the third eye, being able to pick up more signals, and you being able to understand things more, because your perspective is changing, which means your consciousness is changing and it's expanding. So that means that you are now able to comprehend, understand, understand, overstand, understand all the stands, what this world is about. And as you do that, the matrix crumbles. The false reality crumbles, but the truth of who you are remains, and then you can living in the world the way in which you were divinely ordained to come and do. What you were here to come and do. What did God say? Come and do. And it turns out that part of the things that He said you must do encompasses these experiences, because the very part of darkness that you walked in darkness is the very part where you're going to come back and shed light in all those spaces. So that's what Ascension is about in a nutshell, which is what quantum leaping is about, which is what having a human experience is about, is what illumination is about. In its plain simple terms, like 11 level portal, it's finding balance. Find balance within yourself. Just learn who you are, discover who you are. Just not worry about yourself. And as you do that, you indirectly are, because you are introducing a new energy by virtue of your bloodline, by virtue of you being born in your bloodline and they living inside of you all your lifetimes, across all the different bloodlines that you have been reincarnating in. By virtue of you just clearing the energy here, you literally are channeling all of them. So past, present, and future gets to ascend, gets to heal. And it's just by worrying about yourself. Nothing more, nothing less. Concentrate on you. And as you heal you, guess what? You free your lineage, which means that they can come and now guide and assist you into getting that 26 billion that you needed. They'll tell you, okay, you want 26 billion for you, because it's not going to fall out of the sky like manna, but these are the things that you need to do in order for you to earn that 26 million. So be prepared to start that business if they want you to start that business. Be prepared to do the mission work, which is to heal. so that you can get your 26 billion. Like nothing is impossible when you move with spirit that way, you know. And so it's just a matter of saying, please don't fear your guides. Like ask them the questions. Okay, you're saying I need to do this. My limited mind. Oh my gosh. Granny or Mkulu or God, dear God, you're telling me this. My mind is so limited. I'm thinking linear terms. I don't understand. Spirits is too complex. Can you please break it down for me so that I'm able to at least be confident and not fear? You know, ask the question. Ask, 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 ask. You know, because the more you ask, the more you get better clarity, the more you get better understanding. And so that fear goes away because you now have an understanding and now you're convicted and nobody can tell you nothing. And especially about yourself, nobody can tell you that you think you're superior than yourself, or you think that you just think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, of course, I think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. If you've learned and discovered that about yourself, then definitely you will be the slice of bread, you know. So that's just that. Just heal, heal, heal yourself. Introspection, accountability, vulnerability is your strength, you know. If vulnerability, if you can't be vulnerable, it means that you can't be transparent because you're not willing, you're hiding yourself. And so you'll always be sitting in the corner paranoid thinking, why is this one thing about me? Meantime, that person is not even on that same, they're worried about their own problems. Like we've got this term in South Africa, siyakowisha, everybody yakowisha. We all have problems. So who's going to be sitting there worried about you and you acting all paranoid in your head and you don't want to move? And then next thing you turn around and you want to call people names instead of, why don't you just do you? Do you, boo? Do you, boo? And the universe will align with you. I promise you, all of the universe, meaning the good spirits and the bad spirits, if that's what you choose to believe. For me, it's neither this or that. It's just that, you know, it's just love and compassion and everything supporting me to move in my oneness. So everything is there to support you. Everything is there to help you become like you're magnificent. God said I'm magnificent. He tells me that all the time. Like I write that on my mirror every single day. My daughter and I, we get dressed in the front the same mirror, and it's written there, I am magnificent, because you need to understand God lives inside of you. So you can never not be magnificent. You can never not see yourself as grand. You can never not believe in yourself like that. And so for me, that's what quantum leaping is about. It's about just aligning myself to spirit, saying, okay, you've given me an idea, you've implanted this in me. Oh, what an amazing idea. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I know that you guys wouldn't have told me to do that if I couldn't do it, because God never gives you a load you can never be able to bear, right? So help me, show me how. And then things happen, magic starts happening, people coming into your life, you meet people, you do this, you do that, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And I can definitely say that I can even say that you manifested to hear such a message, because there's this thing, man, that's always been inside of you that you've wanted to hear, that gives you the, and if it takes me coming out and being my bubbly self and me being my typical self and just laying my truth out there and expressing myself and say that this is what I was taught by spirits and by learning me, and I now know all these things, and because I could do it, so can you, you know. And yeah, that's what it is about. Illumination. The level photo.
Yes, I love that. There's a question that goes with what you're just saying now, right? From Mataronolo. Okay, so she has two questions. So I will start with this one first. because we're still talking about this portal. So she's asking, when we go through these gateways, like for example, the 1111, is there anything one should do in order to use the opportunity to quantum leap?
Just be yourself. Just pay attention. You need to be aware of what is happening, because every single portal supports you in moving forward, in you getting wherever you need to be. One is God particle, like God presenting himself, God giving something. So the illumination, it's always just that you need to be self-aware, meaning that you have to become mindful. And for you to become mindful, it requires for you not to have all this clutter and noise in your head, which means that you need to start healing yourself. You need to start working on yourself. You need to start understanding why you do certain things, so that if it requires for you to do something differently about it, then you do it, because all of a sudden you won't have that noise. That means you become more conscious, because you're now no longer stuck in the past, reliving a trauma in your head and thinking people are saying things about you and you miss out on your life. So for you to be prepared and for you to be able to fully maximize a portal or whatever download, because these portals happen every single day. Today is just it's active for the whole day. But if you look at the time frame, it's 1917 now. But at 11 today, 1111 was the 1111 portal. At 0101 is a portal, 0202 is a portal, 0303 is a portal, and 0102 is a portal. So at every single given moment of your time, you have an opportunity to quantum leap. So you have to be mindful so that you maximize the energies every single moment. Right now, as we are speaking and I am getting through to people, and you are now having conversations in your head, that's illumination. That's a quantum leap that is taking place for you. So it goes back to what you said, Gogo. There are certain words that you use as activation codes for the higher self, and so sometimes the higher self can get so frustrated with your physical being that is here because of a limited understanding. So yes, the higher self is perfect. The higher self is already complete on its own. Your soul is complete on its own. It's your human vessel body that needs to come up to date, that needs to be brought up to date. And that's why also, Coco, we do allow and we give allowance to make a person understand, okay, this is why something is happening. That's why I always advocate ask questions. I thrive in asking questions, because I know that if I don't have an answer, I'll be like, okay, God, granny na, because I've got my granny as my guide and my ancestors at my guide. I'll be like, oh granny, this and this. I'll set a question out into the universe, and guess what? Within the it's gotten so much so that I'll have a question, and within 10-15 minutes it'll be answered, because that's how fast I've ascended, that it's instant manifestation. But the universe always comes back with an answer for you. It always comes back and supports you. So it's always just that staying in a state of awareness. And the reason why we have instant manifestation is because we've gotten to be so aligned with spirits that we move and have our being in oneness and in alliance with them, right? But for any other individual who perhaps hasn't reached that stage, it's just a matter of sitting there. You need to be aware. You need to be present in your presence, which requires for you to heal, which requires for you to do some introspection so that you understand you are the way that you are. And it allows for you to also get to a point whereby you can shift yourself, move yourself, move. Why? It's like you sitting there the fire, you're in front of the heater and you've got the 4 bars fully on and your leg is burning and you keep on saying, I'm burning, Gyasha, Gyasha. Why don't you move? Why are you still sitting there? And then you're saying, Gyangana. It's an example my granny used to say to me. And so when you're saying Gyangana, it means that I'm lazy. So you're lazy to move, yet you're crying that you're burning. Like, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So what must happen? What must we do? It's your free will. So spirits can never come in and shift you. But what they can do is they can sit there and they know that the fire burn even more. And eventually you're going to cry out and you're either going to jump and move or you're going to be like, I need help. I can't move. And they'll step in and then they'll do for you. So learn these things about yourself, discover yourself so that you maximize, like every single moment of your life is a moment of, we're shifting through portals all the time. Just gateways, doorways, we don't even need days like 11/11 to happen. Every single moment, like even at the second, oh, my battery's almost out. So every moment of every second is a portal that is happening, be it a portal of divine inspiration, 2 balance, 3 action, 4 stability, grounding, 5 change, 6 godly love, 7 the divine intervention, and it's every single moment of your life is an opportunity to change. So don't even wait for the gateway portals, because when is the next one going to come? Next year, 11th of November, tomorrow, 11 p.m. Right now is we time hop. Like, time is an illusion, and so right now is a portal. Your very single moment is a portal, and if you stop worrying about all of those things and just worry about yourself, you will forever be flowing through these portals. And you need not worry about all of these things, because you're taking care of self, because it's all about self, the mastery of self, and worry about yourself, and it takes care of everything else.
Yeah, I love that, Coco. I'm just worried about your battery. Is it possible for you to go to the charging spot as you're moving?
Let me just, I'm just, oh yeah, ma. I'm just screaming for my daughter, sorry. Let me see if I can get it.
You found one. You have one close to you, okay. As she's preparing, I will share my what I've realized about what tends to happen. This doesn't happen to everyone, right? What is happening here? So this doesn't happen to everyone, but you may get something from what I'm sharing. So the thing about why 11/11 is such a, maybe something that a lot of people are talking about, and it's a big portal that we're leaping in, is because, one, it's happening mostly for all of us all around the world. And then 2, the energies that are coming through these portals, they're coming in huge numbers, the frequency is a lot, compared to, let's say, just your regular other days where we still have these portals coming in. But today there's a lot of energy coming in that is very supportive to our growth, our evolution, our ascension, our quantum leap, right? So what tends to happen, or what I've been seeing in my own self and in the experiences of other people who I also commune with, one, the first thing is these energies, they tend to affect our dream landscape, like the dreams we have at night. And sometimes also those who have a gift of vision, where they see us, they can see. You might find that during this time, you have a lot of visions that are coming through, particularly before you go to sleep or just after you wake up from bed. You have all these many images moving through you because of the leap and the portal. Like, the portal is ushering us into another stage, right? So there's a lot of things happening, and sometimes if you're tuned in, you will see this. But for most people, our dreams become very active. You start having really profound dreams, powerful dreams. And so you want to, like Coco was saying, to really look more deeply into these dreams, right? But a lot of us, when we look into these dreams, we just want like more of a, what is the meaning of this dream, rather than the message that also your higher self and spirit is trying to share with you about the work you need to be doing, particularly right now, to quantum leap to your next stage, right? So the contents of the dreams that you are having, they are possibly cues that or tips that your higher self is giving you, that your guides are giving you, that here is where you have the wound, and this is where you can focus on, and then you will begin to leap. So during this time, for me in particular, I write my dreams all the time, right? I just have my phone next to me. When I wake up, I write, and I start to look at the patterns. I look at the energies. I look at how some of the dreams that are coming through are also connected to the struggles I currently have right now in my life, because sometimes that's where I'm going to find the answers for these struggles I have currently in my life and so forth. You will also find that during this time, there is opportunities for answers to come to you from other people. Like, for example, you listening to this today is your quantum leap, like Gogo was saying, right? You needed to hear something from today that you can take, because it's a cue for, listen here, this is where you need the shift, this is where you need the next decision to make, and then you would leap to your next stage. So these are the things that you can do, like a very focusing on observing a lot of the events that are happening to you right now in your dream, when your dream life, when you're sleeping, as well as your dream lives when you are like daydreaming about the things that you want for yourself. And then the people that you are meeting who can come through as universal messengers. They are sent to you by, your higher self, your guides, the source God, to give you the next tip, the next cue to jump into where you need to jump into. And like Coco was saying, what I love about what Coco was saying is the importance of, yes, so we are feeling all the energies that we're seeing, you're getting all the guidance that you've got, but if you do not make the decision that you need to make, then it wouldn't matter. We will still be here next year, still living the same lives we were living a year ago, if we don't make the next decision, whatever that decision is, whether that's to get support, whether that's to start that business you've been wanting to start, or to go back home, visit your ancestral, whatever the thing is, take the decision. That's how we maximize on these quantum leaps, right? You take the decision. Yeah.
True. And then you won't go thinking that life is happening to me. I've just filled riddled with bad luck, and God doesn't love me, the universe doesn't love me. No, baby, you don't love yourself. That's why you keep yourself stuck. So make the decision to change, make a choice. Just decide, like, I'm tired of living this life. I don't know what to do, show me. And then the universe will step in and show you. It's as simple as that. And furthermore, it didn't even, some of us, like with regards to the Africans, so we have our guides always there guiding us, helping us, we have it easy, our guides come before we go through down the road of doom and disaster. They're already there showing you already there dreaming. So, and my belief is that God shows up for you in whichever form and fashion he needs to, so that he is present for you. So that is why sometimes you'd find that you'd be walking on the streets, and you're a lady, and maybe you're feeling down, and maybe you're not even feeling your best because you've got a bad headache or whatever. And then you come across a small group of children, and they look at you and be like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. And that time you're like, really? And there you got your hair ruffled, you were probably crying because something happened to you and whatever, God being present for you in that form and fashion, in whatever way that he needs be. In your dreams, they come and they speak to you. Your guides even show you that, oh my gosh, don't do this because this is what's going to happen. So it's like preempted. They go there and they show you that this is the road you're leading down. Like, this is the routes that you're taking, and these are the things that are going to happen. That's why you're prophetic. It's because it's warnings and signs and symbols are already there, but because we lost as people. A lot of people are lost. Um, that's why you'd find people believing that the world is against them, not knowing that these things that they believe the world is against them, these rocks per se, um, they are there to help you to lay the foundation so that you become a better person for yourself. Because once you can become a better person for yourself, then it means that you can become a better person for the next human being. And because you've learned how to show compassion to yourself, and because you've discovered yourself, and you've gone through any experience that you've gone through, and you understand your mental dialogue behind it and your conditioning behind it, then it becomes so easy for you to identify another person who perhaps needs a kind listening ear or a kind word for you. It's like that saying that they always say that become that superhero you needed when you were a kid. When you become that, you gain the ability of being a superhero, because all of a sudden you have an innate knowing that, oh my gosh, my friend is not well. Let me phone. Friend, how are you? I was just thinking about you. Are you good? And what's happening? And then all of a sudden they just lay it on thick and start crying on the phone with you. It's because you pick up on these things, and you receive the messages and the dialogue. So yeah, that's the beauty of healing yourself and learning yourself, because you become a better human being basically, and you become more compassionate, and you become more loving to abantu people. And so that means that the world is changing, because that's the energy you're introducing, not just to your cash, but to the collective. And so that means the whole of humanity starts quantum leaping, and compassion and love. And we move from things such as animosity and fighting and all these world wars that have taken place, and they have predicted and said, oh, World War IIIs are coming. But look at where we are. It's 2021. And did they not say in 2012 the world is coming to an end? Did they not say that about 2000? Did they not say that we probably would have been in a thick of world wars where we've got the countries fighting against each other? But it's because of people like you and I that are just living life. You don't have to be the next president to. You are doing more work being you than the president is doing. And so just holding that space and holding that vibration of love, joy, peace, compassion is allowing for the light to shine brighter than before. It's allowing for people who are stuck in the old energy to move from that old energy. Like me just sharing my truth, I know that somebody else will be like, oh my gosh, it's I can do that. If she can do it, so can I. And so I would have changed one person's life. And I know that by changing one person, that person will go and change other people's life. And so that's the butterfly effect having taken place. And it all started with just worrying about me. And it's brought about so much for so many people.
Yes.
Let's love the energy I'm
Yeah.
so
Okay,
but
so we have times for one more question. Um,
oh,
So Keke, so you were talking about the dream that you had, and you're asking if it's a sign of quantum leaping. Yes, 100%, as I mentioned earlier with the dream. How like during this time we do tend to have very powerful, profound dreams, right? So I hope you got clarity in that. The question I want you to answer, Coco, is in alignment with your last words about love. I think, are you still here with me, Coco?
I am. I've just gone into the questions because I couldn't see the questions.
Oh, I am reading them for you right now. You don't need to go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just come back because you are on the speaker. So on YouTube, it's just looking like there's no one.
Oh, okay. I want to see the dream, Coco. I'll be
Okay,
back.
I will read it for you. I will read it for you. Just come back.
Okay.
Yeah. Keketo was saying that this morning I had a beautiful dream. I was in the train. I arrived as those slow moving trains were leaving. I missed it. In a few minutes, another train arrived, those nice ones that move very fast. I caught that train. I was with an older woman in this train and it felt so good. Could this be a sign of quantum leaping? And she says that she didn't know anything about this before this webinar. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, definitely it is a sign of quantum leaping. I'll also just add there also, traditionally when we look at the train, we look at it as a journey towards healing. Ne? People say that when you dream of a train and you're in it and you're moving, you're on your way to a pathway, or you're on your way to spiritual school, you know. And so with the old trains moving, that's definitely quantum leaping, because the old trains symbolize the old energy, the old way of doing things. And the new faster train is the upgrade, meaning that that's with all the DNA activation that have come through. That's with the crystalline body that you inherit as you ascend and you have cellular structure taking place and all of that. So with her having that grand there, it's also showing that she's never alone. There's always guidance with her. She's always divinely guided. And the older version of that particular person, we could also say it's her higher self that's there. It's her higher self that is guiding, meaning that she's always divinely guided, of course, definitely ascension. And so it's them showing her that dream today is symbolic to say that something is going to take place that is going to accelerate the way in which you are moving. You're no longer a slow moving train, but now you're a fast moving train, because all of a sudden things are happening fast, things are happening fast, things are happening fast. So yeah, it was speaking to the 1111 portal for her.
Beautiful. And the last question is from Matagonolo. She wants to return you back to the beginning, but it's still about the 1111 because you call it also a twin flame portal. So she's asking on the twin flame ascension, can you expand on that and how that has defined or distinguished your journey?
Okay. I can't really go in depth because I have the classes for that under my mission work. However, twin flame is your mirror. It's someone who is there to trigger you so that you see parts of yourself that need healing, which is typically what everybody does, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not even mistaken. It's literally what everybody does. We are all mirrors for each other. And so the only difference with the twin flame is that that particular person is your divine masculine, meaning that would be a man or if you are male or female, or if you same-sex gender, because divine feminine, divine masculine is just energies at the end of the day. So that's how you will find union of the same sex, and that's how you'll find unions of the opposite sex coming together. So these divine beings, when they twin flames, it means that they are divinely guided to be together. That's the only difference for them, is that it goes beyond a soulmate. A soulmate can only support you so many ways, but your twin will take you to the deepest parts of yourself so that you can pull yourself back up again. So yeah, Coco, you're asking because I believe you're a twin. Yeah, you should please do follow the link to my blog, and you'll be able to actually learn more about that, because I do expand. There's a lot of teachings that I've put out based on that. So yeah, you can read more there.
Yeah, I think the twin flame ascension is quite exciting, particularly for women who love the idea of like love and finding your beloved and so on, So I know that, yeah, the way that people perceive, the twin flame, it's like the one, the beloved, my genetic equal, my divine union, when, yes, there's so much more to it. So she should definitely check your blog. And yes, actually, you can, I don't know if you wanted to say something, but the question I was going to ask is to also share more on how people can work with you, where they can find you, and so forth.
Oh, well, I do that. I'd like to just say that the twin flame is not only about the romance. It's not only about the romance that when you were growing up, you were reading in all the fairy tales, and it's hardcore. Like you get put into an arena, and it's boot camp, like proper boot camp. And so a lot of people get they just end here where it's just the romance, and they don't step further into it. So it's an opportunity to literally get to your truest, most rawest essence of who you are. So that's that. So yes, as a benefit, you get the romance of a lifetime, all of that, but it's really hardcore, I would say, and I know a lot of twins do know this. So outside of just that part, it is pretty intense. You wonder why it turned out the way that I did. It's because I had to go into boot camp for that. But yeah, that's just all I like to say with regards to the twin flame. And definitely for anyone that would like to work with me, you can follow me on my blog on Facebook. That is Inside the Mind of a Beautiful Mess, the Emancipation of Yandi. And then on my personal account, which is Ayanda Mkhize, that's for Facebook. On Insta, it's Makambi_A, and on Twitter, it's at Mkhize Yens. Yeah. So I'm very, very active on Facebook. So definitely you would maximize on my teachings via Facebook. And to book a personal session with me, you can contact me. I'll have to say the international network +27 +27 65 979 2168. Yeah, that's my direct contact number. So you can send me a message. I do prefer you send me a WhatsApp message so that I can respond, because I'm always busy with people. So sometimes I can't answer. So if you pop me a message, I can always come back and answer. And then on email, that is Mkhambi-onke, MAKHAMBIONKE @gmail.com. You can pop me an email.
Yeah.
Those are my
What
cousins.
what you can also do is, if you go to our show in our website, there is about our speakers, so you can go down to Gogo's section and her topic, and underneath it says follow her here, and we already put the link to her Facebook page, which I think it would be easier to follow through and find out all the other places as well. Right. So yeah, this is it. Thank you so much, Gogo, for this very illuminative conversation, particularly now on the 1111. And just clarifying quantum leaping, clarifying the mastery of self. It's been so wonderful. Some of the comments that were coming through here from Arinavo, this is wonderful. Wow. Thank you very much from Gogeto. And thank you so much for all the responses. And yeah, this just has been a lot of love for you here. And we also had some people joining us on YouTube that are really, I'm sure they're grateful for everything that you shared, the wisdom that you shared. You took the whole time to be here. So thank you so much. Yes. Thank you, Coco. What a revelation. This is from Arinabo. Beautiful. Thank you, Maria.
I enjoyed myself, Coco. So thank you for welcoming me to your space and for holding space for me. I do appreciate that. And yeah, I do believe that I dropped some gems for people, and I made it's easy, you know, like at least it can be doable is what I'm trying to say. So I'm glad that I could be present in that way for everyone who actually got to receive from my cup and drink out of it, you know. So thank you. Definitely in future, should you guys want me to come back, I will be more than willing to come. And yeah, you know, it's very exciting and very encouraging when we see that we're winning. Humanity is winning better as a society, as a people, as a nation, as a world. So it's always comforting when I meet other people who are like myself as well. So I get very excited for these things. I'm a little kid. But yeah, Coco. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much. I 100% agree. Like, this library of consciousness that we're building is really to, you know, connect with other fellow, you know, light workers and genetic path cutters who are here wanting to learn, wanting to grow, develop, evolve, you know. And my vision, as far as I understand it, is for this to continue, you know, for seasons, for many seasons, you know. And of course, we're definitely going to invite you again in one of our future seasons for another topic. I just have a feeling that people will like you to actually go a little deeply with the twin flame thing. Maybe that's the next topic. We don't know, whichever way. But yes, otherwise you can follow Ayanda to learn more if you're like, I really need to find out, right? So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We're doing this every Thursday at 7 p.m., the same place, same link. If you are here, you should be able to join again next week. We always have guests until the end of this season, which will be at mid-December, 16 December. So I hope to see you back again next week to learn and so forth.